thing I like about this is that it has a load of history. And I want to talk to you. We're going to touch briefly on Egypt because it's very important when it's pointed out. We don't know how important it is. But Egypt is very important because it's a part of our biblical heritage and it's a part of our bloodline. When it says the people in bondage, that's talking about us. It connects us from here to Africa. And there are dates and times to back this up. So we're going to connect it. And I hear people say, they say, oh, the white man wrote the Bible. They don't know what they're talking about. Now, he may have copied it, but he didn't write it. Because that comes from us. Yeah. And you'll find that out if you go to been to Egypt. Well, now we can travel now being on the internet. We can go to Egypt every night if we want to from the internet, right? Or you even got to pay for no ticket. All we got to do is pay for the internet line, and it would take us on our trek, and we'll find out that in Luxor, they've already connected us here in America. Those of us already connected to what they call the line of kings and queens. So I want to touch on that just very briefly as part of history, and then for us to understand why, because we are the most gifted people on the planet. Anything that we touch here in America takes off. It don't happen like that anywhere else. People say, I wonder why that happened. Because the children of God and our family, our lineage, the connection we have with God, the prophecy of our bondage, and all of that stuff was already foretold twice in history. One of it was 586 BC during the time of Moses. And the next time we hear it is during the time of Tutmosis, right? Because Moses means leader. That's all it means. Tutmosis, which is also David. That's right. David, King David out of the Bible is the same as Tutmosis. There's no difference. And Tommy, I'm going to give him all the secrets we can learn. I'm going to tell him a little bit about it. But that's why it's such a privilege for us to be able to be in the house of God. When we say, let us go to the house of the Lord, we're quoting an image that God is our direction and that the Bible is our guide. So when we think of the what they call the Decalogue or the Ten Commandments, for us, these are physical guidelines that follow those who believe, right? They were made for us. So when Jesus said he come not to do away with the law, but to fulfill it, he's not taking the Old Testament and tossing it in the garbage can. What he's saying is that same thing that God told Moses through Jethro. He said there are 1 million laws. He said it's impossible for man to keep those laws. He said, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those 1 million laws, right? Because to each, what was it, 100,000, there was one main law that came out of all, or rather 100,000 that came out of one main law. So he dwindled it down with the teaching of Jethro to Moses, dwindled it down to about 10 commandments. And Jesus came when they said, man, we can't keep these 10. There's no way for us to do it. He said, I tell you what, I'll tell you how to keep the prophets and the law. He said to love the Lord thy God with all thy whole heart, soul, mind, and strength, and thy neighbor as thyself, right? And then he said, how can you love me whom you never seen, right? And hate your brother whom you see daily, right? Right, because man and God is one. The Spirit of God is in us. Is that right or wrong? So it's in us, and if we really, really operate in that, see, we'll be able to call those things into existence. Yeah. When it says the just shall live what? By faith, because we have the law of God. The just shall live by faith and not by sight. And I think that Hebrews says, it says faith is the evidence of things hoped for. Excuse me, the substance. The substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. For by it, the elders obtain a good report. We believe, we have a strong faith in the black community, and God is still moving in the black community. We have to give in to the power of God. It's all around us. It's all around us because faith is something that's been put in us by God. And people operate it all the time. They operate it wrong. You see that stuff with Puffy? They operating faith wrong. Yeah, they just operate it wrong. They're manipulating it wrong. And it becomes satanic when it damages the lives of people. You see what I'm saying? T.D. Jakes and all of them are now caught up in this big